a little feedback.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey, how we doing?
good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start in maybe about 3 minutes. Give everyone
Okay.
time to get on, okay?
Okay.
Perfect, perfect. Just want to make sure everyone can hear us clearly before we start and everything.
Sounds good. Where are
Good,
you
good, good.
from? Are you from London?
Don't worry, we'll get into this. We'll get into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am originally, yeah.
Uh,
I live in Orlando now.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know you, on my page I don't talk much, so no one really
Yeah,
knows.
I know. I think I've heard you speak once. I'm like, do I hear an accent?
Yeah, so I'm trying to talk a little bit more now. So I'm getting more exposure now. So I'm trying to talk more.
Yeah, definitely. We want to hear
Yeah,
what you got to say.
exactly. What I'm gonna quickly do is I'm just gonna put my phone on not disturb, so there's no notifications coming through. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give everyone that. What's the time now? All right. 2 more minutes, and then we'll get things going.
Sounds good.
Perfect. 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 I cannot hear. Wait to hear. Yeah, we're going to go into it. Okay. So again, if there's any little random questions that anyone has for us, there's a question icon at the bottom. So just leave any questions for us. Okay. So at the end, we'll answer any questions you may have. Okay. Uh,
Hey, everyone. Oh, my cousin just joined.
oh, nice.
Hey, Cynthia.
Great, great. Perfect, perfect. Just 1 more minute, and then we'll get going. Give some
Sounds
introduction.
good.
Everyone get to know who we are a little bit.
Sounds good. What are you drinking?
H2O.
Oh, okay.
And spring water. Just because usually for the whole morning, I mainly just hydrate for most of the morning. Just depends,
Okay.
especially on Monday. I usually just hydrate as much as I can.
That's good. That's good.
And we'll get into your routine. You may inspire someone to eat how you eat.
Okay. I like people to just like, I don't know, create their own, but I'm definitely willing to share my routine and what I do for
Perfect,
sure.
perfect.
I'm excited to get started.
Yeah. We're actually gonna get started now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yay.
all right. Welcome everyone. Okay. So again, episode 2 of Quarantine with Andredream. Okay. So today we're talking about balancing our mental, and today we're actually going into nutritional health. Okay. So again, a little bit about me. If anyone don't know who I am, I'm Andredream. I'm originally from London, England. I live in Orlando now. I've made a big transition in just my life in general. Even with how I do, because I'm a personal trainer, but I don't call myself a personal trainer. I'm more like I call myself more of a health and wellness coach,
Mm-hmm.
teaching teaching the importance of self-love. So that's my main overall goal through my fitness that I teach.
That's good.
Um, and again, this year I've made it a goal to myself is to push myself out there more because I know people need it more than ever, especially now they need the guidance more than ever. And I'm just going to be another seed in the world, just trying to just give as much knowledge as I can, wherever I can. You can pick my brains up, pick my brains. Again, I'm not saying I know everything, but I know all the keys to what's going to keep you and get you like going on the right path.
That's good.
Okay. So today, I've got my guest with me. She's going to introduce herself. Online, she goes as Veggie Peggy.
Yeah.
There she is. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so as you know, I go by Veggie Peggy, but my name is Peggy Exume. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. I've been on my plant-based journey for about 5 years in July, I believe. I lost track, honestly, but I think it's been a good 5 years. And it started as a weight loss journey, and eventually it turned into more about, the better I eat, the better I am mentally. And then so I started this journey of just being better overall. It started as changing the way that I ate, and then it just turned into changing the way that I thought and changing my actions as well. So that's why I'm so passionate about intertwining nutritional health and mental health wellness, because it does go hand in hand, especially if you're going through something like depression or anxiety or eating disorders. It starts with your mental health. So I'm really passionate about those two things.
All right. So question. I don't know if no one's actually seen your page. When I look at your page, I'll be like, wow, man, I need the energy that you've got. I need all of that vibration that you have. So obviously your page is like really colorful. So again, you're already putting out the kind of energy that you want to put into the world.
Yes.
So before you even decide to kind of put your page as how it is, how did you get to that stage?
So it started with, I was in a dark place before I changed up the way that I ate. And thank you, by the way. Thank you. I really do enjoy putting out content. It's I like to be creative. So I'm glad that people see that in my account. But it did start off with me being in a dark place. I was struggling with where I was in life. I wasn't happy. And then so I started eating my feelings is basically what I did. And I found comfort in that. Actually, before that, I was just drinking a lot. Like I was drinking to go to sleep, you know, to turn off, you know, what was going on in my head. And then when I realized, okay, what I'm doing with alcohol is not helping whatsoever. And it didn't feel good to wake up in the morning hungover or whatnot. So then I changed it to, okay, well, let me stuff my face pretty much. And I would just eat myself to sleep. And I felt in my body, I felt different. Not only was it weight gain, I started experiencing pain, like inflammation in my fingers, inflammation in my chest. It's just in my wrists. I started developing a ganglion cyst. It was just really bad. It like my body was crying out for change. And I didn't know where to start at that time, although my whole life I've been pretty much healthy and athletic. But once I got into my head and I got into that dark space, everything I knew that I did in the past just went away. And I just became this different person. You know, I was working a 9 to 5 that I did not enjoy at all. That was a toxic environment in on itself. There's nothing wrong with working 9 to 5, but where I was just a toxic environment. And yeah, that's very important. And so I was depressed, and I didn't know at the time, but I also suffered with anxiety. And eventually I started thinking, okay, I went to the doctor for a physical, and she was so alarmed about how much weight I gained from my last physical. And she said, you need to change. Like, whatever you're doing, you need to stop, and you need to get back to, like, you know, because this is not the same person that I'm seeing on the chart. And
how long between, what kind of gap was that? Was that 6 months, 4 months? How long was that?
I want to say it was a period of maybe a year, like a whole year of this, like going in and out, maybe even more. I honestly feel like when you're in a place like that, you don't even know. You don't even know. So I can't even, when I look back, I can't even think when it started and when did it officially end. You know, I just know that slowly my health started deteriorating. My doctor was alarmed. And because I knew what I was supposed to do, because I was athletic when I was younger, it went in one ear, out one another. I'm like, okay, I know what to do to change. I'll do it eventually. But I kept hanging on to that comfort of the food made me feel better, you know? And so I started watching documentaries on food. And then one documentary that I watched was Food Inc. And it basically talked about where your food comes from and how like the process, like the food process was like ridiculous, and how schools would have like soda machines and junk food and just everything. And then from that, I watched a raw food documentary, and that talked about raw veganism. And then so I took those two together and thought, okay, my process in eating is not helping me whatsoever. and I just started doing raw vegans. I would eat salads and fruits
So,
and
okay, a question. So did you go? So from how? So you wasn't vegan or anything like before. You was eating like
no,
chicken.
no.
So
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 in
what?
high
So what?
school,
So
so
sorry.
in
Did you just go basically just straight into it, just like boom, and that was it?
yes,
One.
eventually,
Oh.
yeah. So in high school, I was vegetarian, but not necessarily for health, just because I didn't feel like eating meat anymore. And then when I watched that, I said, okay, no, I need to change it. And boom, right there, I did raw vegan for about 6 months.
Okay.
Now, was my journey after that perfect? No. But from after the 6 months of being raw vegan, that's when I transitioned into a cooked vegan diet, a plant-based diet.
Okay.
And I can tell you this, when I started changing the way that I ate, my depression, my anxiety reduced significantly. I wasn't 100% healed. I wasn't 100, but it reduced significantly. And I felt like I now started to understand why I was eating the way that I was eating. I didn't, at the moment, I was like, I didn't think, oh, I'm depressed. I need to change the way I eat. It wasn't like that. I didn't even realize I was going through depression until later on.
Mm-hmm. Most
Yeah.
most people, and that's what you find is like a lot of people have so many things that they either overwork or they do different things to like kind of like suppress it, and so you're not
And
actually like,
cope.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's the thing. It's
that's,
like, I think that's especially now during this quarantine now, it's like people are
mhm.
doing different kind of things now to try and not to think about different things and stuff. But but overall, they should actually be trying to decode and trying to find himself again during this time, because I think more than ever, I think this is the best time now to try and find yourself, because throughout this for myself, I feel like I'm finding myself even more because now I have time to think.
Absolutely.
Think over and
Absolutely.
over.
But here's the issue. When you're going through something like the quarantine, something that's outside of your norm, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to handle it, what you start to do is you go through whatever makes you comfortable.
Oh
You
yeah.
go straight into comfort. And for a lot of people, comfort could be binging a whole entire season of Netflix or different shows or whatever. Comfort can look like eating all day, even when you're not hungry, eating things that you know aren't beneficial for you. Comfort
Mm-hmm.
could be even like whatever it is that could be toxic or a bad habit. It could lead to something in it could lead to something that's comfortable for them, and so they don't want to let it go. So for one thing, I know when I was going through my changing, i I knew what it felt like to eat healthy and to feel better. But when
Mm-hmm.
I started going through different circumstances, different obstacles, I realized I went right back to that comfort. So for a lot of people, it's not that they don't know what to do and they don't know how eating healthy, working out, doing whatever have to do to give them in a healthy spot, have to be do to get them in a healthy space, that they don't know how it'll make them feel better. But what they do is they value comfort over what will be beneficial. And it's human
So
nature.
okay, so for someone in here that kind of feels that maybe they're they're on that kind of path. So what kind of thing that you think they can do like as a stepping stone just to just try and get out of that? Because a lot of people trying to want to get out of it, but again, is especially your surroundings. If you have no one that kind of thinks outside of that kind of feeling,
Mm,
it's going to
yeah,
kind of box. So for someone
yeah.
that kind of knows what they're kind of doing, but still does it. But then maybe like a word, maybe you can say to them, like they can start with maybe doing this. Is like, do you feel like they should try to like? What do you feel like they should do? What would you kind of advise? And I'll give my advice after this.
Okay, I would say understand why you're choosing to take on that comfort. So for me, I had to understand that I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I didn't want to face how I felt. So I started doing other things in order to avoid that, you know? So I think the main thing, the first thing is to understand why. You know, a lot of people are suffering from a lack of confidence. A lot of people are suffering from a lack of self-worth. They don't know that's what it is, but that's what they're feeling. And then so they're putting actions into that. You know, like, you know, it's better if you get up in the morning and work out, but instead you're just laying in bed. Why? You know, so a lot of people have to understand why they're choosing those actions that are destroying them to begin with. Because if you don't know why, you're going to go right back into that cycle. You know, so for me, the first thing, you have to understand why. You have to dive deep into yourself, because everyone's journey, everyone's experience is different. You have to understand, why am I choosing something that I know is not good for me over something that could be better? You know, why am I choosing comfort when I know that if I take action, it'll be more beneficial? So that's the first thing, understanding why. The next thing is, what is something that I can do consistently, something small consistently that can help me. So I like to start, I like to tell people, start small. You know, when you see a baby, a newborn, and they finally like are able to stand up, you're not going to expect them to sprint across the room. You're going to expect them to like maybe crawl, maybe take a couple steps. You know, if they can sit up, you're not saying, oh, my baby could sit up, now I'm expecting them to run. No, it takes time. When you're running a marathon, you don't go wake up one day and say, I'm going to sign up for a marathon. No, you do a 5K first, and then you do, you know, like maybe a half a marathon, and then you do the marathon, you know. So you got to start small. So a lot of people, I feel like, what tricks them is they see all of these challenges, 21-day challenges. It takes 21 days to break a habit. So do this, and then you'll be able to break the habit. And then they'll do a challenge and then go right back. You know, and there's nothing wrong with doing challenges. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. But if you're just doing the challenge and not making like small steps to keep at it, you're going to keep going on a cycle. So first step.
That's why even for me, I believe when people do those challenges, the people that is actually organizing it, they need to find like a program that are in a way where it's going to help them transition off of it.
Yes.
But a lot of them they don't have no guidance from it. It's like, I always do 21 days. Once the 21 days is done, there's no guidance after that.
There's
none. The problem that I've had with a lot of them.
Exactly.
So that's why, like, yeah.
Exactly. And then so it's like, okay, I did the 21-day challenge, and then they think, okay, their life is just going to automatically change like a switch. But really, your life changes with consistency. Every time you do something, the more you do it, the more you make it a habit. 21 days challenge is not a habit. It's just a challenge for those 21 days. And so, number one, know your why. Number two, choose something that you know you can commit to. What can you commit to? For me, it started off with, I could commit to salads. I love salads. I could commit to eating a salad a day. You know, I could commit to that. Like, for lunch, I'll just have a salad. If I don't eat the salad for lunch, I'll have it for dinner. You know, or right now for 2020, I'm realizing for the past 6-7 years, I've been slacking so much with exercising. So my 2020 word is consistency. I'm going to get up. I'm going to at least put 2 to 3 days a week into working out. And so every time I put out content in my, and I know you asked about content. I'm sorry, I talk all over the place.
No, that's fine. No, because the thing is, what I want actually to happen is, like, I want everyone to kind of have a breakdown and kind of understand kind of different methods that they can go about to try find their self, because again, it's like my key thing is when it comes to overall, like definitely finding a why, finding something to commit to. But
Yes.
again, if during, especially during this quarantine, if you're just going every single day with where there's no type of routine, you're always
Mm-hmm.
going to be constantly lost. So my thing is like people's got to plan out what their day is. So even if they're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to watch Netflix," set a time like as if you're going to the movies to to watch it. So if you're going to go
Exactly.
out, say you're going to wake up 8 o'clock, that routine is going to kind of help you. So then when you come off of this, you're already kind of set and you kind of know, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
what, instead of we're going back to what we used to do, is going just go, 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 and not having time to think. So like even for
Exactly.
myself, like I said, I had to find time for myself to kind of sit back and think, okay, what am I doing? So when I looked at what I was doing, I was just going.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man. So then ever since this now, like I've been kind of not working as much and changing my format to be working at home for the last month. So from that, I've been able to kind of set pace on how my days are going to be, even when I come out of this. So I
Yes.
know I'm gonna be working smarter, not just working. Feel like I'm working harder, but I'm not. I'm just in the same place. So
Exactly.
it's just like, it's important. Again, you gotta find your reason. Again, you gotta find your reason why you've got to do this change. You gotta, even if it's not for yourself, find if it's for your kids, it's for your parents, or whatever it is.
It's
Find
true.
yourself something outside of yourself, because not all the time you're gonna find it for yourself. But obviously, the overall route to ask anyone is like finding yourself first. Because once you find yourself, you can bless everyone else, because you've kind of found the root to yourself first. And I believe it always begins with self before you can give your energy out to everybody else.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I fully agree. You gotta find your why, commit, have a routine, go with
Mm-hmm.
it. Again, you
Yes.
also talk about your content. So why do you say about overall why you put that type of content out?
Yes. So as far as my content, I never put out something that I'm not going through, or I don't put out anything that I don't know anything about, if that makes sense. Because some people try to do that. They see the fad, they see what's going on out there, and then they decide, oh, okay, everyone's talking about this. Let me chime in. That's
Yeah.
not me. My content is really, if I talk about like struggling with depression, is because that's what I'm feeling at the moment. If I'm talking about like, so right now my whole content is about consistency 2020. I'm not saying, oh, I want everyone to be consistent. Like, I want me. I want to be consistent first, because I'm
Okay, you need that.
realizing, exactly, because I'm realizing that um I was putting out, like, I realized that I was lacking in something as far as like fitness, like I know the benefits of being fit, working out at least 2 or 3 times a week, or even once a week, because I wasn't doing it consistently at all. And I realized, oh wow, this is a bad habit. I need to start moving again. I need to start putting time into working out and exercising. Not that I'm going to be a fitness instructor or anything, but I need to practice.
So
If I'm going to talk about the health message and being out there, I need to practice it. And so I'm doing like this whole consistency 2020, as far as not only just fitness, but everything overall. Like, we have to be consistent with our words. If you're saying you're a hard worker, but you don't do anything throughout the day, are you really a hard worker? There's nothing wrong with relaxing and taking time. But if you're looking at your week and you haven't really produced anything that you're proud of, or like, and this is something I was going through. I'm not trying to shame anyone. I was going through that. And I thought, oh, okay, so maybe I'm not a hard worker. Maybe I need to focus on my work ethic. So
yeah,
it's just about being consistent in life. Like, are you responsible? Are you telling people you're responsible? Is your actions showing that you're responsible? So just being consistent in life. So that is my 2020 theme. And so a lot of my content right now is about understanding that your health isn't about being perfect. It's not about eating perfectly. It's not about working out 7 days a week. It's just about being consistent to what you want to see in your life. And
and how you want.
so, exactly, exactly. And I love that you mentioned that you have to do it for yourself first. And it's okay to have the outside motivation. Like, I want to do it to take care of my parents. I know that's something I'm dealing with right now because I'm in my 30s and I see my parents, you know, like getting older, and I'm like, oh man, I want to be able to take care of them, you know, like I want to be able to have the finances, you know. And so I know that's something that drives me on a daily basis. And for some people, it's their kids. Like, if you're not taking care of yourself, are you going to be able to reach 70 to see how they turned out? You know, outside of anything can happen, but you know, like, are you doing your part in staying healthy to be there for them? Exactly. So, yeah, so for me, it's about being consistent and, just like you said, doing it for yourself first and having that motivation. However, I do like to tell people that motivation comes and goes. And sometimes for me, even what motivated me yesterday is not going to motivate me today. So I have to think about it as I need to be consistent. I said that I was going to do 3 days a week. I have to commit to 3 days a week, even if I don't feel motivated, you know?
Yeah.
So but I love that you said that you have to pour in yourself first. That's definitely true.
And again, it's like the more and more even I realize as well is like, if you're around like toxic people and they don't have no type of drive, it's but you might feel motivated that they're like, yeah, but then the ones that you're talking to at the time is they're just like just dragging themselves all the time. That can bring you
Yeah.
right back down to where you've begun. So again, it's like, it's important, like I say to people all the time on Instagram, it's important who you follow to where you want to go. It's mad important who you follow. So if you want the good energy, follow those pages that have good energy. So then when you wake up, that's the first thing you're seeing, that you're not seeing something that is about some negative things.
It's
So
true.
it's all those little things that play a part. So again, obviously I'm big on what you put in your body, but I'm more important what you feed into your brain and stuff like that, because
Yes.
both link hand in hand. So you can't do
Yes.
one without the other. And a lot of people are like misunderstanding that. So I understand people like watching certain shows, but you got to think sometimes, depending on what the show is, you got to think, watching that too much, is that doing something good for you or not? Because sometimes you can
Yeah.
overwatch things that ain't going to do nothing good for you. So
Yes.
it's got to be conscious on those kind of stuff, because again, mentally that can take you to another place as well.
It's
So
true.
it's all those little things that just play a role. But again, it's just like you were saying earlier, it's about how you're feeling before
Mm-hmm.
mentally, the food you're intaking. Again, the food that you're intaking can make you feel one way or it can make you feel another way. So again,
Mm-hmm.
we've got, the key thing, as I say to people all the time, is you got to be conscious on what you consume, like in your gut health, because again, at the end of the day, is if it doesn't feel like it's giving you life and giving you energy, there's something going wrong there. So you have to think to yourself, when I eat this food, how does it make me feel? When I eat this, how does it make me feel? You got to find
Mm-hmm.
those things that make you feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to work.
Absolutely.
So it's like people have to be more conscious of that. And again, I know everyone's going through whatever they're going through during this quarantine time, but this is the best time more than ever to take control if you can.
It's true.
Because
It's
once
true.
you come out of this, you're going to be back on the race again, and you ain't going to
It's
have
true.
time to find yourself. So it's like I say, now it's the time to take control of your mental and like what you're taking in now, because again, like we don't know how long this is going to be, so we don't want to wait until then. It's going to be 10 times harder for us to try and find ourselves again. So
Yeah.
that's why I took time out and just said I got to find myself again. But again, it's not about being perfect, but it's making those
Yes.
little adjustments that are going to get you to where you kind of want to go.
Exactly. And I love that you said I want to find myself again, because we don't realize how much we change over the years. You know, we don't realize that we're not the same person as we were
Mm.
like even a month ago. And so if you don't take that time to sit down and think, what do I like now? What don't I like? What can I tolerate from others? Like, I realize now I tolerate very little from people. And it's not that I'm impatient or I snap at them. It's just that I'm not going to feed into that conversation. You know,
I'm
for
with
me,
you.
it's like I would want, sometimes in the past, I would want to like, oh, oh, that's how you feel, like let me understand. And like now it's like I'm not going to engage in that conversation anymore, because I know my time is valuable. I know that in the long run it may not go where the conversation needs to go. And so it's very important that you understand who you are, who you're growing into, and to take time to have just a self-awareness. I understand a lot of people don't have self-awareness, you know, so it's like, how can I acquire that? You know, some people are blessed with it, some people are gifted with it, but a lot of people need to find that. Like, how can I have more self-awareness? Like, I know when I speak in a certain way, you know, like when I answer, I'm like, whoa, why did I just say that? Like, that was not nice. I'm not having a good day right now. I need to go and process, you know, like understand that your words matter. And if you're saying something that's not, I don't know, with love, kindness, why? Like, what's bothering you today? You know, like have that self-responsibility, you know? So it's really good to take time to get to know yourself all over again. And like you were saying, consumption is more than what you put in your mouth. It's also about what you're reading, what you're watching. And that's for someone that is struggling with being in a toxic environment that they can't get away from, you know, because not everyone has that luxury of this person that I live with or this job that I go to. I can't just get up and leave, you know, like some people don't, or at least they feel like they can't get up and leave. I don't know everyone's situation, but what helps, I feel like a lot, is what we consume in our minds. You know, like, are you taking time to meditate, to pray? What literature are you reading? You know, to set your mind into a place where, okay, I'm reading words that are encouraging, or I'm reading words to make me understand life better. You know, there are a lot of self-help books that you're able to learn from. You know, like I personally think everyone should start learning about psychology or counseling, you know, because then you get to understand how you're speaking to others, why someone else might be acting the way they're acting. It might not even be personal to you. And so when you realize, oh, what they're doing has nothing to do with me, they're just addressing their own issues, it won't affect you anymore, you know? So I feel like it's all about what you're reading, what you're watching. Like you said, it's more than what you put in your body. However, there are some foods that will mess up your hormones. They will mess up your thinking.
Talk to the people. Let them know. Let them know.
It's true. It's
Let them know
true.
some food.
It's true.
Tell 5 of them. Let me know 5.
Well, I don't know, like, I can't say like different, but I know processed foods are terrible. Sugar is terrible. You know, it's junk food in a sense, like anything that's from a factory, you know. And I don't want to tell people like, oh, throw it away, never eat it again, because for some people that's hard. But you really have to evaluate what you're putting into your body and how often you're putting into your body. You know, like those things can cause depression. And when you get rid of those things, you realize it's reducing your anxiety. It reduces your depression. So for being like, I can only be candid and honest, but in my vegan journey, like I've been plant-based for 5 years, there was a time where I did miss junk food. So I decided, okay, well, let me eat vegan junk food. Oh my goodness. And I'm not saying like, oh, let me just eat like one day. No, I like went crazy for like a month where I was eating like vegan burgers, vegan hot dogs, like chips are vegan, you know, vegan ice cream. I was just like, whatever, like just going crazy, like eating within that month. And I realized that I was all off. Like I was just crying ridiculously one day, upset the other day, you know, like it really messed up my balance. And it
Yeah.
didn't hit me until I'm like, okay, you know, eventually I had to think about, why am I acting this way? Oh, I started eating like that, you know?
Because it's funny because it's one thing that over time I never really noticed with a lot of my family. Well, when I went to a lot of family gatherings, but everyone it wasn't me, but when everyone finished eating, they were always tired. I never understood why they was tired. It's like they always want to sleep after they finish eating. I
Yeah.
never kind of. It's only when I got older and I started to look into more because again, I was not taught about health or anything like that. This was just something I just kind of learned as time went on because my family didn't really, they wasn't over about health. But even though my mum ate healthy, she never really said, "Oh, eat healthy." So I just took little elements that I kind of just saw.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood why they were always so tired. But it's the more I
Yes.
understood, it's like what you're consuming. Just like Brittany said in the comments, the brain and the gut are connected. What you feed
Yes.
the brain.
It's true.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Is
Yeah.
that those kind of stuff we don't understand until again we take time out to kind of say, okay, pay attention to, okay, when I eat this, how am I feeling? When I eat this, how do I feel? So once we start paying attention to those little things, then we can break down, okay, we know we can't either have too much of this or I've got to cut this out because this is the thing that's making me feel depressed or this is the thing that's
Exactly.
making me feel depressed. Because certain foods, just like Brian's saying again, can make you feel depressed depending
It's
on what
true.
ingredients it has within the food. It can make you feel depressed. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
we have to be more conscious of that because again is we've got, for me, it's important to me. It's like us, we have to be the change for the next generation. So this kind of cycle can kind of break because this
Exactly.
thing can't keep going on. Because again, it's the more and more I see a lot of youth and younger ones and stuff. They're in a worse state than I don't even remember ever being like that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's just there's again overfed with junk food. And there was even
Yeah.
a video I saw. There's even a video I saw about during this quarantine thing. The mum videoed the daughter and the video, she was telling her McDonald's this is going to be shut, and the kid was crying. And then every junk
I
food
saw
place,
that.
it was
Yeah.
saying that it was shut. That's not a good. That's not a good thing. If that's the reaction
Yeah.
she's having of a food place is
She's
closed.
already connected
That's not good.
emotionally. It's
Exactly.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yes. And you
It's
think
all
that like
kind
as adults you have like these emotions. No, it starts like at like as a child. She has that emotional connection already to McDonald's and junk food. Yeah,
of.
absolutely.
It's like my son. He doesn't even know what McDonald's is. He's never even been there before. So to
Wow,
him,
that's
it's like
good.
there's a lot of kids that will have candy and stuff. To him, candy is fruit.
Yeah,
So when his eyes light up, because that's what he knows as being candy.
that's
So many
amazing.
times where he goes to school and he has candy now and again, but I'm selective on the ones. So I'll find one that doesn't have no extra stuff in it. It's only like four ingredients, but it's still
Yeah,
type of food. Because I'm
exactly.
specific with all those kind of stuff that he even consumes. So even a lot of parties, I won't let him go to because I can't afford that to be a trigger.
Yeah, of him
I can
feeling
do whatever
left
I
out
want.
and wanting to
Exactly.
try
So,
it at least. Yeah.
exactly. So
Hmm.
until the time comes where he's independent and has to do it,
Hmm.
at least I kind of put something within him. So when he has that reaction, he's gonna understand why he's got that reaction because his body
Exactly.
made him do that. So I've
Exactly.
got to do whatever I can right now to kind of like break that that chain.
Yeah. And that's really good because when he like he'll I feel like if he starts making that choice like, oh, okay, I want to eat, you know, junk eventually, I feel
Yeah.
like there's a better chance that he'll feel
Yep.
the like how can I say, like he'll feel like, oh wait, that's not good for me, a lot quicker than someone else
Yep.
that was raised in it and their body just adjusted to it.
I agree.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that if we pay attention to what we're eating and how it makes us feel, if we have more of that self-awareness, like we would understand, okay, the junk food is it's like the gut bacteria, like Brittany was saying, or how it messes up with your mind, like your mental health. Now studies are saying that, you know, so it's so interesting that if we pay attention, we like, it's great to have like scientists researching and doing studies about that, but now there's a Harvard study that talks about it, and it's like, wow, like our bodies tell us, our bodies give us that information. Like for me, at least specifically, it like I can feel it. I can feel when my hormones are out of whack. You know, I can feel when
Mhm.
I don't, like for me, one thing that I know I will never go back to eating dairy or meat or anything is because my body tells me no thank you. Like I remember when I decided to like, okay, well, let me start eating, you know, like before I made the commitment to fully transition, I would go back to eating cheese and meat or whatever, but eating also like salads and whatnot. And my hands would start aching, you know, like I would get a cyst developing. And then that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I can't do this anymore. I used to have like really bad allergies, like every
Yeah.
single week, running nose, my eyes. I had really bad acne. It was just crazy. And the
And the one
better,
Yeah, and the one thing is you'll start to see people, what they'll do is they know that effect happens, but what they'll think is, okay, let me just take this pill and I can still eat that because it's not gonna they try to do this kind of stuff to keep covering up everything, and
it's
that's what's
true.
gonna ruin the body even more. That's what's gonna ruin the insides even more because
Yep,
it's a constant battle with this medication and the food you're eating. It's in a constant battle. So that's when you
mm-hmm.
start building different diseases that you didn't even probably have a
Yeah,
few months ago because of all those kind of little things that you're kind of doing. So
exactly.
it's just
And
crazy, but it's true that it's that's why mental is so important because it's like the reason why I say mental is so important is because again, it's a lot of the food blockages. It's not allowing us to think straight.
exactly.
So
It's
we are
true.
messed up sometimes just by what we're consuming. We're just
Mm-hmm.
mentally messed up. So and people don't really kind of understand that until again, that's what we keep saying is they commit to kind of start to make little changes.
And you know, we have so many distractions, and I feel like that's why people aren't able to make that connection easily. You know, like
Hmm.
we're distracted by so many things. We're distracted by comparisons, even when we're on the right track to make those changes. Sometimes we're distracted about how someone's making a quicker change than you are. You know,
Yeah,
like when people would just focus on themselves, like
yeah,
just focus on what you're doing, focus on your results, focus on your small little
yeah.
changes, then you won't ever feel like, oh, I need to make this drastic, let me fast for 10 days so I can have like this drastic change. uh, it's like consistency isn't sexy enough. You know, like little small changes is not the one that's going to get you like the 10,000 likes on Facebook. Like people want to see the before and after. And then the first question, if you don't post like the date, the first question they're going to ask is, how long did it take you? Why? It doesn't matter how long.
You
I
got them.
got there.
You got them.
I got there. But
Yeah.
people want to compare, like, oh, it took you 5 months. I'm going to do it. It's going to take me 5 months too.
Yeah,
No.
because what people don't understand is away from the weight loss, there's other little things that you grow and you gain throughout that. Because it may
Mm-hmm.
be you can feel more confident. You can have less pains in your knees, in your arms. You can feel like I have more energy throughout the day. It's all these different little elements that come into it. So like I say to people
Absolutely.
all the time, is weight loss is the last thing. The actual weight that becomes
Yes.
a lot of times it's people holding on to weight is because they're holding on to not loving themselves because they've not
Mm-hmm.
found that loving themselves yet. So that's why a lot of the times they've got unnecessary weight on themselves because they have not let go of those little things that they've been holding on to for so long.
Oh,
So that's
yes.
usually the last thing to go is the weight. It's because of
It's
that. They're holding on to
true.
things they've not even put to it to the front line. So
It's
it's those
true.
little things that people kind of have to be alert of, and that's why that's my biggest message. Because a lot of people, when I say it to people, it's like, oh, they don't want to hear that, but it's facts, though. It's
It's
facts, and
true.
I've
It's
seen it.
true. Stress can even cause weight gain. Like, and some people are addicted to stress. You know, like they don't realize it, but they're addicted to stress. And it's a it goes back to self-awareness. Just like you said, like it's unfortunate that we're going through this. You know, a lot of people are anxious, you know, about um attracting coronavirus or anything. Like people are dying. Like it's sad that this is where the world is right now.
Yeah,
However, when the fact that we're in our homes and kind of forced to be in our homes. Not necessarily means you can't go outside. You can go outside. But,
Yeah.
you know, like we're forced to be still, you know, and like you
You
said
know,
earlier when we started, this is a great time to be still and understand yourself, understand your triggers. You know, I didn't realize, you know, my triggers before was me thinking I'm not doing enough. So every time I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm this age, I should be doing X, Y, and Z. And in my mind, goes in circles about everything that I'm not doing. And then I start thinking about what other people are doing at this age. And then I realize that's my trigger. So
yep.
as soon as I start thinking about I'm not doing enough, I have to like change the narrative in my head. Like I know that's my trigger. I have to change the narrative because it will get me into a dark place. And then once my thought is in that place, then my actions follows. And then I start wanting to either, I don't know, like not do anything, you know, like just sit there and like zone out and watch something to like get me out of my head, or like I don't really go towards stuffing my face anymore. Thank goodness. I'm like recovering from binge eating. So that was my trigger before, but now I do other things like, and I beat myself up in my head. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you have to know your triggers. You have to know as soon yes, Brittany,
Learn self.
self-sabotage is real. It's
Learn
true.
self. You gotta
So
learn
you
self.
have to change the narrative in your mind quick. But that comes with understand. It took me a long time to understand,
Yeah.
it's my inadequacies that makes me feel like I'm
Mm.
not doing what I need to do. Like, so when I start feeling inadequate, I have to change the narrative. Like, no, you're doing enough. You're on the right path. You have a passion for something. Focus on that. Focus on doing those things.
That's why, like I say, it's important. Like, so before you sleep, you have a routine that you do before you sleep. So you're actually going to sleep more peaceful. And even when you wake up before everyone else. If your house is packed, have a routine that kind of sets your mood and gets you in the right energy to start your day and end your day. Because it's important. Because a lot of people just wake up and just go, and
Yeah.
that's a problem because you ain't gonna have given your brain time to kind of wake up and kind of figure out, okay, this is what I've got to get myself ready for today, and all those kind of different things. So it's important to just
Yes.
set your day, end your day how you want it to be. So what we're gonna do is, I've seen a few questions. We'll ask a few questions as time's going. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. Okay. How can messages like what we're saying compete with McDonald's?
um, so here's the thing. We don't have the same financial resources like McDonald's, but we do have our own little community, if you think about it. My parents are in my community, my best friends are in my community, my relatives are in my community, my, you know, I don't go to church anymore because we're on lockdown, but I do have my church friends as well. I do have my dance community. Like I dance and I go to dance studios. So you have your bubble, and that's how you can, not to preach to your bubble, not to preach to your community, but be an example, you know. So I can't
Yeah,
compete and put like $1 million ads
I'm with
into
you.
like McDonald's,
Yeah,
but I can practice what I preach and I can be an example to those around me. So I
yeah,
feel
'cause
like, yeah,
yeah, yeah, because that's important because again, it's like people got to see you do it, and then the change that they kind of see within you, even the glow that they might see in you daily,
exactly,
that's going to be a big change because again, you
exactly,
weren't like this before. Oh, what did you do to change? So those
exactly.
kind of stuff go a long way.
And it's not about debating. It's not about showing off like, oh, I'm better and I'm doing this and I'm healthier. It's just about being an example and knowing that other people are looking at you because you're making this change, and they're going to be curious on how can I make changes like that to better myself.
But yeah, great. Our next question is concerning health. Would your YouTube search history reveal about what you're learning now? It's a good one.
Yeah. Concerning health. So right now, I wouldn't, my YouTube search with health, I haven't been doing that. For me, my YouTube search is more about spiritual, like spiritual healing. And I think that's a part of health as well. So I guess that's what it would be. Like, I like looking up sermons because I feel like being encouraging in the journey that I am. Like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm not where I want to be in life, but that doesn't mean I'm not where I'm supposed to be, you know? So I watch a lot of sermons or even like talks about encouraging like your how can I say, like your, like where you are. And so for me, that's beneficial for my mental health because I need that reminder. Some people need reminders on eating healthy. I do too, but not as much anymore. Like, so for me, my mental health is more on seeking more spiritual guidance than
Yeah, perfect. Makes
nutrition.
sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. But like with me, I'm probably with both. Again, there's a quite a lot of people that like I follow just to do with health. Like I can send some links out that I need to. There's a lot of like past teachers that I follow. Like one of my main teachers like Dr. Africa and stuff like that. So
Mm.
I have like different kind of people that I look into. There's even like random people. There's a guy called KT the Arch Degree. He teaches a lot like on just overall, even throughout this quarantine. There's a lot of teachings that he teaches like how your body's actually functioning. So like
Mm.
about the importance of even just sunlight, as like a lot of times is our
Yes.
bodies are wearing down because we're not getting enough sun. A lot of people are taking vitamin D pills and stuff, but all you actually have to do to just revitalize your body is just to be outside. So
Mm-hmm.
it goes into a spiritual connection between the sun and us. So
Mm.
he goes into more detail on those kind of stuff, and it's important to kind of
Yeah.
find the but I can post for Jasmo 25. I can post little things that to your page and little pages that you can follow that can kind of help you to find that connection because there's so many. There's not just a few. There's so many, and once you kind
Yeah.
of go to each one of them, you will kind of find which one works for you more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say before when I was doing more searches on health on YouTube, I loved Eris Latham. I think I can't remember, but I'll put like he's really good and he's practical and I just like the way that he speaks about health. I think that's how you spell his name, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Aris Latham. Yeah. This
Yeah.
guy's a serious guy. Like
I like
hopefully
him.
next time when I go to Jamaica, I want to meet him. Actually, go to his house because you can actually go to his house
Oh,
and
really?
he actually cooks for you while you stay at his house every
Wow.
single day.
Yeah.
He does all raw foods with. He's really
Yeah.
good.
There's something
Oh,
about the way that he talks, like it
yeah.
resonates with me. Like he's practical, he's no nonsense, he doesn't sugarcoat things. I enjoy watching his videos.
Yeah. Next question is, what type of supplements do you take that you've when you turn vegan? What type of supplements did you take?
So I personally have not taken any, but I know for women of color, we need to go outside a lot more. Like because of our melanin, we don't absorb the vitamin D from the sun as quick as someone that's of a paler skin. So I think that if you're black, darker skin, you should really go to your doctor and get tested to see your vitamin D level, because I know that's something that,
Love.
especially if you drank milk growing up, you know, and you work 9 to 5 in an office. Like for me, that was something where my doctor also told me, this was before I went vegan. She's like, your vitamin D levels are low. So I had to take vitamin D, but this was before I went vegan, and I was never really good at that. So I need to go back and check to see how it is now. I think it's better, but I think women of color, you have to really focus on vitamin D, and you could get that from fruits and vegetables. But I do know that, yeah, definitely go out in the sun a little bit more. And vitamin B12, I think,
Yeah,
is
B12.
something
Yeah,
else.
B12.
And they
B12 is
have
essential. B12 is essential because we don't usually a lot of people get that through meats and stuff like that. So when you
exactly.
come off of that, you kind of need to get a lot more of that in. And I would say like add black seed oil. That's a good thing just to keep your immune system high. Because overall, especially with so much going on, we want to keep our immune system high. That's if you're vegan
Exactly.
or not.
Yes.
But
So a
that's a
lot of
cute.
people, I think that's interesting because a lot of people talk about supplements on a vegan lifestyle, but yet on the standard American diet, no one really talks about what supplements they should be, like taking. So I think vegan or not, you should always focus on like your blood test. What are you lacking? Vegan or
Well,
not.
But one of the things I would say though, the reason why a lot of them don't worry about that is because they have so much of everything injected into the meat. They have so much injected into it, so their body gets near enough everything. So they have creatine in the meat. They have all these different things that are like put into the meat. That's why their body doesn't really need nothing more. So that's why when you kind of go off of it, it's like your mind is like de-drugged because now you've got all of this extra stuff that is injected into your body taken out of your body. So now
Yeah.
it's like it kind of resets again. But
Yeah.
yeah, but there's so much, but there's like little more things we can kind of go into. But as time's going on, it's soon gonna cut out. So
Oh
what I wanted
yes,
to do,
that's true.
yeah, time's ticking so fast. So again, if everyone wants us to either do this again, what I want you to do is send us some messages. Let us know if you want us to do this talk. Do a part 2 on this. Let us know. So Peggy, is there any message you want to leave the people before we leave?
Just like back what we were saying, how to transition, how to get started. Again, have yourself take time to know yourself, know your why, understand what triggers you. That's so important for your mental health, because if you're just going about your day and not realizing what's bothering you, why you're craving what you're craving, then you're going to keep going back in a cycle. So know your why, understand what's triggering you, and make a commitment. What small change can you do daily? Is it a salad a day? Is it a smoothie a day loaded with green spinach? Is it just, and make that commitment, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, and never give up. And that's the third thing. Never give up. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your health. You're worth it, and you can make a difference in what you do to other people. So
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
And my last thing is I want to say is focus on you. Love yourself to life. Focus on you. Love yourself to life. That's my last message, okay? I want to thank everyone for tuning in.
Thank
Again,
you.
I've got more coming up, okay? If you want a part 2 with me and Peggy, let me know, okay? We'll make it happen as soon as possible. But thanks again, everyone, listening to
Thank you,
Quarantine Talk.
everyone.
Thanks again for joining me, Peggy. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Anytime.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Again, leave us some messages. Leave us some feedback. Okay. In our stories, whatever. Just leave us some feedback. Let us know what else you want to hear from us. Okay. And don't
Alrighty.
forget to follow Peggy. Don't forget to follow her. Okay.
Oh yeah, follow me. Bye.
All right. Take care.